One of the main criticisms for the small portable espresso machine is the need for a system to heat the water. But that was before. I have here a small machine, the OUTIN NANO, which allows you to make espresso anywhere and can also heat the water. Hi, my name is Colin and you're on Cafe Lista, the channel where we talk about coffee, espresso and independent machine reviews. So you might wonder if the espresso is good, is it hot enough? Is the coffee properly extracted, or is it just another marketing gimmick? I tested the Nano in detail, measuring temperature, extraction quality, and all the possible features. And you'll see I got some surprising results. Let's talk about design and build quality. But first, a word about the box and packaging. Usually, I don't really care about this, but here the attention to detail is worth mentioning. Packaging is beautiful, with nice colors and a solid box. Upon opening, you'll find several documents to help you quickly get the grips of the machine. It's not very complicated to use, but everything is designed to leave nothing to chance. So it's a positive point worth mentioning. As for the price, it costs around $150. It might change, so I'll put a link below to check the current price. The machine itself feels solid with a good build quality. It weighs 1.5 pounds, so this might be a drawback for hiking, for example. And it measures the same as my water bottle. But it gives a real impression of quality. How it works. Charging is done via USB cable provided with the machine. When fully charged, it can make about 5 shots starting with the cold water, or 200 if you use hot water, which is not bad at all. In the box here, we have an adapter for the Nespresso pods, or any kind of pods that are compatible, and a small portafilter for ground coffee. It will hold 5 or 7 grams of coffee. It's a pressurized system, so we can use any kind of coffee, supermarket, ground coffee. As always, the cup's quality will really depend on the coffee you will use. I also need to mention this additional kit. So it doesn't come with the machine. You will have to buy it extra. It's around $40, which transforms our little machine to allow a true double espresso, holding between 16 to 18 grams of coffee in the portafilter. And with this, you will be able to produce excellent coffee. I'll show you. But first, let's start with the simple use and the pods. We'll start using the Nano with a compatible Nespresso capsule. Here I have a biodegradable specialty coffee. But as you know, I'm not a big fan of capsule. But I have to admit, they are very convenient for travel, hiking, or anywhere without needing ground coffee. So let's try that. The coffee it produces is decent, meeting the standards of any capsule machine. It's practical and works well, but it's a pod. So let's move on to something a little bit more interesting. Now we're going to use ground coffee and the single basket. We will measure the machine heating time and the temperature of the coffee. As mentioned, you can use any kind of coffee, but the cup's quality will depend on your choice. Here I will use an espresso blend, the one I use with my espresso machine, and we will grind it just now. Let's turn on the machine and measure the heating time. From start to finish, we can expect to have our coffee in 5 minutes. Now let's measure the temperature. We can reach between 140 and 150 degrees Fahrenheit with cold water at the start, which is 60 to 65 degrees Celsius. If we use preheated water, our coffee will be around 176 degrees or 80 degrees Celsius. Now let's make our espresso. It has some crema, it's good, but due to the small dose, it's a bit light. It will be okay if you like not a really strong espresso without too much body or texture, but it makes a decent result. But now, if you're like me, and if you like true espresso with crema, with a nice texture, let's move on to the advanced use and the double basket. And this is where the machine really shines in my opinion. Here the machines behave similarly to a traditional espresso machine. You might know from my other videos, but here the grinder is essential. Without a good grinder, there is no point in getting the double basket. So, with a good grinder, a good coffee, and you will need to experiment a bit to find the right grind for the machine. As you can see, the kit comes with a small distribution tool, a tamper, so we have everything we need. A quick note on extraction here. I measured the TDS and the extraction, and with a bit of work, I was around 10 for TDS and an extraction between 20 and 22, which is great. Even if you don't really know what that means, it's just we are in the standards of espresso. and we get a really good shot with crema, with the range of aroma that I'm expecting from this Brazilian coffee, a good texture, the extraction meets the espresso standards, and honestly there is not much to criticize here. I'm quite surprised of the quality we can get with this machine. The only downside is that the coffee tends to come out just hot if you're using cold water, and there can be a lot of water retention. What that means, depending on the grind of coffee, if you want 40 grams in the cup, you almost need to have double the amount of water in the machine. It's not a big deal, it's just something to know. A few words now about cleaning and maintenance. It's really simple. We have to rinse all the parts, let them dry and put them back on the machine. There could be some concerns about maintaining the mini boiler and the internal circuits and the risk of lime scale. Another question that I have is the battery lifespan. Yes, it's very practical compared to a similar machine without a heating system. But what happens when the battery has a problem? Two small tips that's gonna help to improve your espresso, especially if you're at home. I'll advise to run a first cycle with hot water to heat the whole machine. It takes 1 minute and it's really worth it. Another tip, if the coffee comes out a bit cold, you can preheat your cup with hot water also before. What do I think of the OUTIN NANO? It's a great little machine with a good extraction quality, fast heating system, a nice design and finish. I'm not sure I would take it hiking. It's quite heavy and bulky. I prefer to travel light, but for a camping, RV trip, biking, in car, at work or even at home, and if you drink espresso on the weekend for example, it would be perfect. I'll for sure use it when I travel. What do you think of the OUTIN NANO? Convenient or not? Is it just a new gadget? I'm curious to hear your opinion. If you're still with me, I hope you enjoyed this video and I wanted to share you this one here. I think you'll like it and I recommend you watch it. As always, have a great day. I'll see you next week. Ciao.